You have one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. Your personal protective equipment, or PPE, helps protect you from on-the-job hazards. In order to deliver optimal performance, the components of your PPE, turnout gear, helmet, hood, gloves, and boots, require regular inspection, maintenance, and cleaning. There are two types of inspection: routine and advanced. A routine inspection is the responsibility of the individual firefighter. Specially trained personnel perform advanced inspections. Advanced inspections need to be conducted at least once a year. Your department should maintain a record of the annual advanced inspections and keep them on file. The purpose of this video is to teach you how to perform a routine inspection. A routine inspection should be performed at least every 6 months and after each use of your PPE, regardless of the date of your last inspection. It's highly recommended that you perform a routine inspection before starting your shift. It only takes a few minutes. The goal of the inspection is to be proactive in discovering damage or wear that could compromise the performance of your equipment. If you detect damage to your PPE during a routine inspection, notify the proper department personnel immediately. Never wear gear you suspect is damaged. One of the biggest threats to your turnout gear is exposure to light, whether it is generated by the sun or fluorescent fixtures. Prolonged exposure to light can severely reduce the strength of fabric and seams in your gear and greatly impair its ability to provide protection. Discolored fabric is one symptom of overexposure to light. If you observe discoloration in either your outer shell or on the face cloth of your thermal liner, contact the proper department personnel immediately. You should also review your storage practices. It's important to note that exposure to light can also degrade the seams of your gear without leaving visible signs of damage. That's why it's important to examine all seams on all layers of your turnout clothing for loose threads, breaks, skip stitches, or weaknesses. Pay very close attention to seams in high-stress areas, such as shoulders, elbows, crotch, and knees. The best way to deal with exposure to light is through prevention. Store your PPE in a dark, dry, well-ventilated room. Never store protective clothing in direct sunlight, indirect sunlight, or in fluorescent light. Never store your bunker gear in a lighted bay area, the back of a car, or near a window. Never hang protective clothing out in the sun to dry. It only takes a few days of exposure to light to severely weaken and damage the protective fabrics of your gear. All inspections require clean gear. Dirt can hide signs of damage. If your bunker gear is soiled, it needs to be cleaned. Spot cleaning can be performed on small localized stains. If the soiling is more extensive, it will require machine washing or washing by a professional cleaning service. Whether you're spot cleaning or machine washing, never use chlorine or a chlorine-based product. Chlorine will degrade the protective fibers of your turnout. Turnout gear should be cleaned at least every 6 months. It, and all PPE components, should be cleaned immediately if they have been contaminated or exposed to blood, bodily fluids, tars, fuels, oils, resins, paints, acids, or any other hazardous materials. Check your department's standard operating procedures or manufacturer's instructions on how to clean and what detergents are suitable to use. Always inspect your gear in a clean, well-lighted room. Begin by examining the outer shell. Look closely for thin spots, holes, tears, discoloration, or embrittlement. If you discover damage, remove the liner system. Then test the outer shell strength. Grasp the part of the fabric you suspect is damaged with both hands. Now, try to push your thumbs through the fabric. If you can, then the garment requires an advanced inspection by trained personnel. Examine all outer shell reinforcements. Reinforcements are usually located in high compression or wear areas such as your coat's shoulders, elbows, and cuffs, and your pants cuffs and knees. Check protective wristlets for shrinkage, elongation of thumb holes, loss of elasticity, and seam integrity. One way to help prolong the wear life of your wristlets is to doff your coat properly. Grasp the sleeve cuff and pull your arm and hand out. This wristlet has become worn because the firefighter habitually removes his coat by grabbing the wristlet and tugging, forcing the wristlet to bear the entire weight of the coat and any tools he may be carrying. Inspect your coat and pants for missing, burned, loose, melted, or torn trim. Loose trim that maintains its reflectivity should be resewn to the garment. If you suspect your trim's reflectivity performance has been compromised, here's an easy field test you can perform. stand at least 20 feet from the trim in question. Hold a bright, focused beam flashlight at eye level, either next to the temple or on the bridge of the nose. Aim the light beam at the garment's trim. Note the brightness of the reflected light. Now, do a side-by-side comparison with a sample of new trim. Replace the trim if the reflected light is substantially less than that seen on the new trim. All closure systems on your coat and pants need to be inspected to make sure each is intact and operates properly. Examine hook and loop closures for worn, abraded, or melted pieces that may require replacement. If lint or other objects have accumulated on the hook portion, it can affect the performance of the closure system. Lint is most likely to accumulate during washing. To help prevent this from happening, make sure all hook and loop closures are engaged. Examine all zippers and hardware for functionality and corrosion. Make sure the suspender attachments to the pants are secure. Test suspenders for ease and sureness of adjustments, loss of elasticity, and seam integrity. Any loss of functionality or detection of corrosion in any item of hardware should be brought to the attention of trained personnel for assessment. Find the safety labels, cleaning instructions, and manufacturer's identification labels. Make sure all labels are legible and securely affixed to the components. If any are missing, loose, or illegible, contact trained personnel, who should contact the manufacturer. Examine your liner system after each exposure to high heat. Look for discoloration and unusually thin spots where the thermal liner has been damaged, become compressed, or is separated. In addition to your routine inspections, trained personnel should inspect your thermal liner and moisture barrier at least once a year. After 3 years of use, your moisture barrier needs to be separated from the thermal barrier and inspected by trained personnel or an authorized clean and repair center. Before starting your shift and after exposure to high heat, check the substrate of your moisture barrier for discoloration. If it has discolored, the film may be damaged and should be inspected by trained personnel or an authorized cleaning and repair service. This level of inspection requires that both the outer shell and liner system be evaluated together. If you suspect your moisture barrier is leaking, conduct this field test. Place the liner over a bucket or wastebasket on a flat surface. Pour 1/2 cup of water on a randomly selected 2-inch circle on the outer side of the moisture barrier. If water passes through to the thermal barrier, the moisture barrier is damaged and will not prevent liquid from an outside source from passing through to your thermal barrier. Such leakage can compromise your safety. Immediately inform trained personnel, who should remove the liner system from service and send it to the manufacturer or an authorized cleaning and repair center for repair or replacement. Coats manufactured to meet the latest edition of NFPA 1971 standards are equipped with a drag rescue device, or DRD. Check the DRD to make sure it's stowed properly. Try on the coat to check for comfort and proper fit. If you feel tightness in any way, remove your coat. Check for twisting of the DRD between the shell and the inner liner. Adjust it, then recheck the fit. If you detect or suspect any problems with your DRD, contact trained personnel immediately. Inspect your helmet before starting your shift and after each exposure to impact, high heat, or chemicals. Check the shell for cracks, dents, abrasion, thermal damage, bubbling or soft spots, and contamination. Check the reflective trim for dirt, melting, loss of retroreflectivity, and separation from the shell. Examine the inside of the helmet for dirt, cracks, deterioration, or other damage. Look for torn straps, torn leather pad, breaks, or dirt in the helmet suspension system. Inspect the headband for tears, breaks in the plastic connectors, broken or loose adjustment ratchet, dirt, and sweat. Check the face shield and/or goggles for cracks, charring, distortion, damage from heat or flames, missing or loose adjustment knobs, and dirt. Inspect the ear and neck protector for tears, dirt, signs of light damage, or combustion products. Your helmet should be cleaned at least 2 times a year. You'll also need to inspect your protective hood before starting duty. Examine it thoroughly for shrinkage, loss of elasticity, seam integrity, dirt, thin spots, holes, tears, embrittlement, burned or discolored areas, abrasion, worn spots, or other signs of weakness. Make sure the face opening seals securely. Any weak or thin areas should be brought to the attention of trained personnel. Your hood should be cleaned according to your department's SOP. Hoods can be cleaned by hand or machine. You can also spot clean your hood if the soiling or staining is concentrated in a small area. As with all protective clothing, never store your hood where it is exposed to direct sunlight, indirect sunlight, or fluorescent light. Inspect your gloves after any exposure to high heat, chemicals, firefighting agents, cleaning, repair, or decontamination. Examine the shell for dirt, thin spots, holes, tears, embrittlement, burned or discolored areas, abrasion, or worn spots, and other signs of weakness. Examine all seams for loose threads, breaks, skip stitches, or weaknesses. Test the glove's protective wristlets for shrinkage, elongation, loss of elasticity, and seam integrity. If you suspect your gloves are no longer watertight, inform trained personnel. Gloves are difficult to repair. It's usually more cost-effective to replace damaged gloves. Boots should be inspected monthly or after each exposure to high heat. Examine boots for delaminating seam seals, punctures, thin spots, tread wear, loss of elasticity, and waterproofness. If you discover damage in your protective footwear or suspect your boots are no longer waterproof, notify trained personnel for assessment. Advancements in PPE offer you unprecedented levels of protection. Like any piece of high-performance equipment, your turnout clothing, helmet, hood, gloves, and boots need to be maintained properly and on a regular basis. It only takes a few minutes to conduct a routine PPE inspection. Those few minutes could save your life.
District 4, structure fire for engines 472, ladder 21, ladder 4, fire 7, fire 8, rescue 7, North Main Street and 5th Street.
Each and every day, firefighters risk their lives while performing their sworn duty to protect their community. The Integrated Firefighter Recovery Harness from Lion Apparel, also known as the Drag Rescue Device, or DRD for short, is designed to facilitate the extrication of a downed firefighter from a life-threatening environment.
Stretch over here to the right, Chris.
Traditionally, the firefighter's SCBA harness served as the rescue device. Now, with the new DRD, actual mechanical leverage for dragging the firefighter is readily available. This new product, found on Lion Apparel's bunker or turnout coats, will greatly enhance the likelihood of a successful rescue for your firefighter should that dramatic incident occur.
The DRD is to be used solely for structural or proximity firefighting operations. It is not an escape or life safety harness. It should not be used for lifting or lowering a person on a lifeline.
The DRD is located between the outer shell and inner lining of your coat. The device is comprised of a tethered strap with a looped handle. The handle can be accessed at the nape of the coat even when the firefighter is wearing his or her breathing apparatus.
The DRD is deployed by pulling the handle and fully extending the tethered strap. When deployed, it secures the wearer by the upper torso or shoulders, so the device pulls directly on the body, not the garment. This enables the rescuer to drag the downed firefighter in line with the axis of the skeletal frame, decreasing the risk of further injury.
Before using your coat, check to make sure that the DRD is properly installed. Now, let's take a look at the right way to install the drag rescue device from Lion Apparel.
Place the coat exterior side down so the inner surface of the shell is facing you. Separate the coat shell and liner system except at the collar or neck area. Fold the liner up over the top of the shell. Lay the DRD on the shell with the hook fastener on the looped handle facing down. Insert the looped handle into the welt opening and push it through the opening. Insert the harness through the loops and engage the hook and loop closure. Fold the liner down over the outer shell. Put the liner sleeves through the larger torso loop of the harness. At the lower back area of the shell, press the loop material on the harness onto the 2" by 2" hook piece. Then, place the DRD webbing between your index finger and thumb at the top of either shoulder and follow the webbing completely down, checking for twists and removing them. Repeat the operation for the other shoulder. When done properly, the label and hook fastener on the DRD will face the shell. The hook and loop fastener tab eliminates twisting or drooping of the DRD below the liner while donning and doffing the coat. Reinsert liner sleeves into shell and snap at wrist. Zip the liner into the coat. Turn the coat over so the outside back of the coat is facing you. Bend 2 inches of the hand loop over into the welt opening and mate the loop fastener on the handle with the 1" by 2" hook fastener on the coat shell. Pull the flap down and press into position over the hand loop. Try on the coat to check for comfort and proper fit. If you feel tightness in any way, remove your coat, check for twisting of the DRD between the shell and the inner liner, adjust the DRD, and recheck the fit to see if the problem has been resolved. The drag rescue device can be used by 1 or more people to rescue a downed firefighter. To perform a solo rescue, pull the DRD handle from the pocket in back of the coat. Gently turn the downed firefighter onto their back, resting on the SCBA tank. This will reduce surface area and make it easier to drag the downed firefighter. Slip a gloved hand into the loop on the DRD. Stay low and pull using your legs.
Fire 7 copy. Captain, you take up. Prevention's on the way.
When performing the rescue with a second firefighter, follow the first 3 steps as outlined for a solo rescue.
Then have the second rescuer take a position at the legs of the downed firefighter or join in together at the DRD to provide assistance in dragging the victim.
Following the actual use of the device, or after your turnout coat has been exposed to Class 2 or Class 4 heat, a thorough inspection of your DRD is an absolute must. You should also remember to inspect the device once a year, regardless if it has been used or, for that matter, been exposed to the heat classifications mentioned previously. When checking for damage to your DRD, look for the following things.
Discoloration. This can signify burn damage or chemical deterioration. Cuts or holes. Pulled stitches. Unusual wear. Broken or frayed fibers.
When your DRD is damaged in any way, immediately remove it from service and have it repaired or disposed of. Be sure to consult with your shift supervisor about your DRD's condition or reliability.
Always remember to reset the hand loop inside the coat after each use. Even if your DRD has not been deployed, you should still check the fold and the actual positioning of the device between the shell and liner on a regular basis. Cleaning your DRD is a simple task. First, remove it from your coat. Wash the device by hand using a mild detergent and soft bristle brush. Never use chlorine bleach. Rinse thoroughly. When hanging the DRD to dry, keep the device out of direct or indirect sunlight and avoid fluorescent lighting. Failure to do so can cause degradation of the fibers and severely hamper the performance of your DRD. If storing an uninstalled DRD, make sure it is clean and never stored in the vicinity of sharp objects. Remember to keep your DRD in a dry area away from direct or indirect sunlight and from fluorescent lighting as well.
A good rule of thumb when considering when to retire your DRD is when the actual cost of repair is greater than 50% of the replacement cost. If the retirement option is selected, be sure to destroy your DRD in order to prevent any unauthorized or mistaken use.
Destroying the DRD is best achieved by cutting the webbing into pieces and then disposing of them properly. Any retired DRD contaminated with blood-borne pathogens or hazardous chemicals must be placed in a plastic